I also want to acknowledge the Brothers of Muro for giving me this opportunity. It's been 40 years, and I've actually got the Coronation Ball manual from 1981 that I'm going to refer to a little bit. I hope I don't, but I may embarrass a couple of brothers here. I also want to acknowledge some people here at table one. First, I want to acknowledge my son, Christopher Spriggs. Christopher is a senior at Georgia State. Christopher is an entrepreneur. Christopher started his own marketing firm this year called The Marketing Firm. And Christopher does digital marketing. In August of this year, Christopher had $1 million mappable sale at 21 years old. I'm very proud of you, son. My oldest son, Otha, is a active member of the military. Tamar, as we call him, just had a son this year, the 5th generation Otha. The 5th generation Otha spans 3 centuries, from my grandfather in the 1800s through 2016. Tamar is aeronautical science major from Embry-Riddle and did his postgraduate work at University of Pennsylvania. Antoine, my second oldest son, is just completed his master's degree. I think Antoine's distinction, and I don't know everybody in this room, but I can tell you beyond anyone that I know, Antoine's the best father I know, and he and his daughter Malay are inseparable. And Antoine, you're an inspiration to me, son. Also at this table is Denise Reed. Denise Reed was an angel for Bub and Eric's line, and Denise has been my sister since Denise has been my sister since we met in 1979. When my mom passed away a couple years ago, my mom was an AK. My mom pledged in 1955. And anyone who is an Alpha or a member of a Greek fraternity understands how important your pearls are. And when I was going through my mom's stuff, it just wasn't a question who should have my mom's pearls. Don't. And I love you, Denise. Also at my table, we'll talk a little bit about my line, because we were something. Mission Impossible was quite the mission. It was quite the mission. My line brother Larry is here with his better half, Jen. Jen, this is the first time you've had the opportunity to meet most of the brothers. I hope you enjoy the experience, and welcome to the family. I also want to acknowledge both Brian and Tony. Many of us had an opportunity to spend some time on the phone trying to pull this thing together, and we work with a very difficult administration here. And it's no different than it was 40 years ago. The challenges we have trying to be recognized as an organization, the challenge more not far from Towson, Towson State at the time on Madison Avenue, just south of Druid Hill Park. And last time I was home, I live in Atlanta now, last time I was home I went back to my old neighborhood. And it was not the neighborhood that I lived in. When I went back to Madison Avenue, Utah Place, Pennsylvania Avenue, it was a thriving neighborhood when I lived there. There were doctors, there were lawyers, and our block ran our block. You knew what was happening on your block, you knew what was happening in your neighborhood. The neighborhood I grew up in now is boarded up. There are, it's a haven for bad activities. My friend Peanut's gone, Curly's gone, Scribbles was there. I saw Scribbles. Scribbles was the general manager at Cookies at Madame Mall. Tell me if you know what I'm talking about. He was the general manager at Cookies. Now, if you know what Cookies was, you also know what Odell's was, right? And you knew if you belonged, right? All right, so if you don't know, you just don't know. But all these people are gone. The neighborhood is gone. And my neighborhood's no different than many neighborhoods that you came from, but what has happened is the people that were able to do in those neighborhoods did. And they left. And they went somewhere else. And they pursued other opportunities in life. And what was left behind was a generation, 2 generations of individuals that either could not do better, did not do better, or chose not to do better. And so as a result, the neighborhood is not what it was. And we, those of us who left, myself included, are in part partially responsible for that. And I don't want to make this a social studies conversation, but I'll bring that neighborhood conversation back, because this fraternity, 40 years later, is our neighborhood. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. I grew up in a single-family household, and not in the traditional way. My father was a captain in the Army. My mother and father met at Morgan State College back in the day. My dad went to Vietnam in 1965 as an African-American captain, which there were very few. Did a tour of duty, did 18 months of duty in Vietnam. My dad came home in 1968, and 6 months later he was asked to go back again. Because he was a captain, because he'd done a tour of duty, my dad had the option of saying, I am not going to go back, I'm going to get out of the service. My dad was committed to the military. My dad believed in what the military stood for, and he said to me when he left, he said, son, I will not be back. But I learned a valuable lesson in second grade from the commitment my father made, is there's nothing stronger than commitment. When you make a commitment, people expect you to live up to it. When you pledge a fraternity, you don't just show up when good things happen, you make a commitment. The commitment my father made, the commitment we've made here at New Row, it's no different. You make a commitment, it is what it is. My mom then became a single parent. There are a lot of single female parents in this room, and there are a lot of single parents that are heroes. My mom was a little different in that my mom lost her sight when she was 10. So my mom we lived in a one-bedroom apartment. She was totally blind, and I became a man at a very young age. My mother had all the reasons to give up. She went on to graduate from Douglas High School. She went on to go to Morgan State College and graduate summa cum laude with a degree in English. She went to class every day with a CNI dog. She did not have books in Braille. And when I talk about my children at this table and my son Nicholas, who's not here because he's got finals at Elon, I would not tolerate that you're not going to make an 8 o'clock class because your grandmother went with the CNI dog every day and she didn't miss class. And she matriculated to that school, and in my mind, she was a hero. And my mother made sure I understood that there was no challenge too big. There are plenty of reasons why you can quit. But if she didn't quit, I wasn't going to quit. It's a very valuable lesson. My mom taught me what fortitude meant. So now it's time for me to go to college. And the truth of the matter is, I chose Towson because it was close to my mom. And I truly got an education on accident. I came here to play basketball like most people from Baltimore. And then I met this fraternity. I worked at UPS right before I got online and saved up my money. I worked from 3 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, Sunday through Thursday. Most of the people in the yard didn't know that because they saw me at class every single day. Never missed a day at work, but I learned about what it meant to go to work every single day. It was a great experience, and I started my career at UPS, but I knew that I wanted to be an alpha. But I didn't know what it took. And I certainly didn't have a clear understanding of what the pledging process was. I know how much fun they had. I know they had parties, a noose. And the purpose of this noose was to imply that Tiger Woods was so good, he had a grip, he had a hold on the golf world. The magazine gets published, and what happens Monday? The editor gets fired. Appropriately so. The editor gets interviewed that week on Good Morning America. Matt Lauer, or whomever, says to the editor, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? And the editor goes through these litany of responses about what was supposed to be signified and why he put that on the cover. And then comes the coup de grace. Matt Lauer says, well, what did the other African American people around the table say at the publishing meeting? We didn't have any. And so what was missed there was the opportunity for another perspective. And so what we have in this room today is we've got a diverse group of people, and it's important and we've all pledged, but I would also submit to you, diversity without inclusion is suboptimal. So just because we've got a diverse group of folks here today does not mean the next 40 years are going to be as successful as the last 40 years. It will be if we figure out how to be an inclusive group. Many, many people say that diversity is being invited to the dance.